All right, welcome to part 3 of Zombies and Reinforcement Learning. In this video, we're going to go ahead and start to code out the main loop here a little bit more, and hopefully you will get to see your player moving and maybe even some zombies moving. Let's just see how far we get. So, actually, before I go any further, let me go ahead and check everything we're doing into Git. New file, .gitignore. Always a good idea to go ahead and get your gitignore out there. Right now that's going to be with PyCache. So now if I run a git status, I no longer see it. Video 2. That's the last thing we did. All right. That way we can, if I make a mistake, I can always go back. All right, in our step here, so the first thing we're going to need to do is start to capture some Pygame events. So Pygame events are going to be things like key down, mouse click. This is us interacting with the game. So I'm going to say for event in pygame.event.get if event.type equals pygame.quit, then we'll go ahead and do a pygame.quit and sys.exit. Okay. Elif event.type is pygame.keydown. If event.key is pygame. So we're capturing certain keys kind of right up front, and then we'll look for other key presses a little bit later. But right now we're going to go ahead and grab key tab. We'll do, and this is our changing gun type. So the tab key is going to change from shotgun to single. So single if self.gunType equals shotgun, else shotgun. So basically, if it's already shotgun, go to single. If it's single, go to shotgun. And funny story on this part, so I actually built the original copy of this game with just single shooter, and no health drops and no loot drops. Posted it out for a few friends. One of them liked the game, thought it was cool, went and pull requested a feature for, for the shotgun and the health drops and the loot drops to pick up more shotgun ammo. So it's cool when someone likes the thing you've built enough to go and contribute to it. So I just want to go ahead and credit that. I'm not going to throw his name out, but this part was an addition. So switched to self.gunType mode. Elif event.key equals pygame.k space if self.gunType is single, then we're going to do fire. Oh, we don't even have that yet. So I'm just going to say to do fire single bullet. And actually, you know what? Let's just go define. Let's go define the method. We don't have to put anything in it. So let's go fire single bullet. And that will just take self. And for now, we're just going to say pass. Actually, we'll do one better. Print, bam. All right, we're going to be really creative there. We'll make that do something later, and we will put a to-do up here to do complete bullet method. And if you're wondering about my use of to-dos here, you know, when you're building a somewhat larger project like this, especially for me, because I'm re-implementing it, you know, on video, it's easy to forget pieces because, you know, these projects, you know, it's not like when you're coding something like this out the first time, you actually code it from top to bottom like we're seeing. You build in bits and pieces and you find things that don't work and you find, you know, chunks that you need to add later. And it's much more organic. When we're re-implementing, it's a challenge actually to remember where everything went and not leave pieces out. So I'm throwing to-dos among the code base, so as we go through, if something doesn't work, I can go back and check the to-dos and we can find the pieces that we weren't able to code on the first go around here. So anyway, just a little soapbox there. We're going to do event.key, so we said k space. We're setting, you know, gun type to single, so we're going to do self.fire single bullet. Else we'll need another method here. So this is going to be def fire shotgun bullet and print bam bam. All right. Okay. Oh, and we do need to go and say self, otherwise that is going to error. Okay. And then finally, we're going to say elif event.key is equal to pygame.k escape self.toggle pause. Okay. And I will go ahead and def toggle pause self. And that again to do complete toggle pause method. Okay. So now we should have the ability to pause our game. We'll say if self.paused return. Okay. Another piece that we want to go ahead and get in is our Pygame, the self clock tick. So here we've got time.sleep implemented. We actually don't want to have our, you know, we don't want to have that as our method of maintaining time. At the very end of this, we actually want to say self.clock.tick, and then we're going to say self.fps, and that will manage, you know, how fast the game runs. So let's see, what do we not like? Expected indented block. Do you not like something? Hang on. Our editor is telling us something's wrong. I'd like to understand what it is before we go too much further. For event, those elifs look good. That all looks good. I feel like my indenting is decent. Let's go run it and just see. Yep, def step. Oh, I think we did indent. What don't you like? All right, I'm going to pause and figure out what's wrong here. All right, it should have been obvious. I did not put a pass up in this method. So it wasn't complaining about my step method, it was complaining about it thought toggle pause, was still going because I did not implement that pass. So now this really shouldn't do anything more, but there we go. Now we're back to our screen working. Again, we haven't really added anything extra to it, so no extra functionality. But let's keep going. So back up here, we are going to set player moved equal to false. We'll be using that variable later. We will go ahead and set up our zombie spawn functionality. So we're going to say if the length of self.zombies is less than self.maxZombieCount and random.randint 1 to 100 is less than 3. So we're basically going to say that for any given frame, if we're below our max zombie count, there is a 3% chance of spawning a zombie. So we want some randomness there. So we're going to say self.zombies.append zombie world height equals self.world height, world width equals self.world width, size equals 80. We want our zombies to be a little bigger than our player. And then speed, and I thought this was a fun bit of game mechanics. So speed is not going to be a single set value. It's going to be a random.randint between 1 and self.zombieTopSpeed. So what's that going to do? If we just set it to zombie top speed, so right off for level 1, top speed is 1. We're saying, between 1 and 1, obviously the value is going to be 1. As we progress through the levels, that zombie top speed is going to go up. So we'll actually have zombies of various speeds. So you'll have zombies of speed 1, speed 2, and speed 3, all playing in the same realm, somewhat randomly based on this line. So let's go ahead and we're going to we're going to go ahead and get our additional key presses here. So we're going to say, and we can actually remove this playing zombies text. We don't need it anymore. That was just to show the function was running earlier. So again, we're going to go ahead and get Pygame.key.getPressed. And this will be some of our directional code. So we're going to say new player x equals self.player.x if keys Pygame.ka. And by the way, just to take the mystery out of this, what this is saying is it's grabbing Pygame and then it's saying if the key of A was pressed inside the game. So we're just going to use your standard WASD for movement inside this one. So this is going to be left. You could just as easily map this to anything you wanted it to be. But for now, we're going to say new player x minus equals self.player.speed. And we're going to set self.player.direction equals left. If keys Pygame.k.d, then we're going to say right. And then new player x plus equals self.player.speed. And self.player.direction equals right. And you'll notice that it's not liking self.player, it's not auto-highlighting it, and I think that's because of one of our to-dos up here that we didn't do. We never defined the player, because when we first started this main loop, we had not yet implemented the player class to be able to go define it. So let's go ahead and define our player so that we can start working with them. Self.player equals player. World height equals self.world height. World width equals self.world width. Walls equals self.walls. Okay, so we should now have a player. Let's come back down here to the bottom. And now you'll notice that self.player.speed is lighting up nicely for us. So let's go find, hang on a moment, let me find where I was. Okay, so we now need to define new player rect is equal to pygame.rect new player x self.player.y self.player.size and self.player.size. And you'll notice the same logic here that we were using when we were moving the zombie. We're going to define a new rectangle in one direction, the new player X with the existing player Y. We're going to do a collision check equals check collision. New player rect with self.walls. And then if not collision and self.player.x is not equal to new player x and 0 is less than or equal to new player x less than or equal to self.world width minus self.player size. We're basically just saying you can't go outside the world. Then self.player.x equals new player x. And we also need a to-do here to play walking sound. We haven't done anything with sounds yet in the series. We'll get to that, once we've got all the basic mechanics down. So, all right, so we've done self new player X, and we now need to do basically the same thing with new player Y. So let's go ahead and say new player Y is equal to self.player.y if keys pygame.kw, so W in our WASD, this is going to be up, then new player Y minus equals self.player speed. You should be used to this logic at this point. Self.player.direction is going to be equal to up, lowercase up. If keys pygame.ks, and we're going to say down, new player Y plus equals self.player speed. You'll notice the first one I'm doing minus equals, the second one I'm doing plus equals because it's different directions. That's, that is an easy mistake to make. Make sure you're paying attention to those signs. So we're going to say self.player.direction equals down. We're going to have our new player rect equals pygame.rect self.player.x new player Y self.player.size and self.player.size again. All right, and then just like before, we're going to go ahead and do our collision is check collision, new player rect self.walls. And then also, just like before, we are going to say if not collision, and self.player.y is not equal to new player y, and hit my caps lock there, and 0 is less than or equal to new player y is less than or equal to self.world height minus self.player size. Then self.player.y is equal to new player y, and we will add another to do play walking sound. Okay. Now we want to go ahead and say we've got our new player X and our new player Y. So now we can actually set up the real player rectangle here. So we're going to say self.player.rect is equal to pygame.rect, self.player.x, self.player.y, self.player.size, and self.player.size. Okay, we are going to go ahead and set collision equal to false. We'll be using that later. Now we want to update the camera position to focus on the player. So we're going to say camera x equals self.player.x minus self.window width divided by 2. We're going to say camera y is equal to self.player.y minus self.window height over 2. And then we're just going to make sure that we're keeping the camera inside of the world bounds. So we're going to say camera x equals the max of 0 or camera x self.world width minus self.window width. And camera y is equal to the max of 0 and the minimum of, so the max of 0, that's going to make sure that if it's below 0, 0 is now the max. And then we're taking the minimum of, camera y and the world height minus the window height. So that's going to make sure that we're staying inside of our world here. All right. I am just going to add a big to-do here that says add zombie logic, and we're going to jump down to a lower point in the code. This is where we've got our fill background. And I think we want to go ahead and we're also going to add a to-do here to add bullet logic. We don't even have bullets yet. And then we're going to say self.player.draw, self.screen, camera x, camera y, to do draw zombies. And then let's see. Let's start there and see if I've got enough, if we've got enough code to actually display our player. I think we do. Hey, we have our player. And we are able to move our player around with WASD. Now, it's not super obvious right away that the player's moving once she hits the middle of the screen because, you know, there's nothing to reference against. It just, you know, it's a solid orange background. But yeah, so we now have a player on the screen who can move around and interact with the environment in some way. So I think that is probably a really good place to go ahead and end this video. In the next video, we're going to start to put together the bullet logic, so our player can, you know, shoot at things, and then we'll also hopefully start working on the zombies and you know, their logic in the environment. So see you in the next video.